The fun stuff, news, politics, culture. So if you don't want to hear anything, you don't like my views, now is the time to change the channel, so to speak. Hi guys.
This has pretty much been explained.
Jonathan Daly. Monday, 3/10, I believe, was the day, March 10th. The stock market completely tanked, 900 points off the Dow Jones, mainly from tariff talk from Trump. That's a lot of T's. Ooh, tough tariff talk from Trump. Anyway, I don't want to speculate too much, but that's pretty much what most main news commentators are saying. Whether or not you agree with the tariffs, my view on this is that the United States treating other countries the way that the other countries treat the United States is just President Trump looking out for what's best for the United States. However, tariff wars can be dangerous and it can hurt the American consumer. So if prices do go up, that may be a major reason for the stocks falling. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, the main reason for the stock market really plummeting is because of President Trump not really being clear as to, okay, are we raising tariffs or are we not? What is his fundamental principle? He's kind of flip-flopped on the issue, and that is the main, in my opinion, that is the main reason for the stock market really plummeting, because volatility is always in existence when people are not clear as to what the policy is, especially with Trump's tariffing Canada, for example, our main trading partner. It makes sense for China, for Mexico, these countries that have tariffs on our products. It makes sense to tariff them. But in the instance of Canada, it may not make as much sense to be threatening our main trade partner when, in fact, our products are not being tariffed to the extent that he's wanting to tariff Canadian products. So perhaps there's a long-term play here that we're not really getting into. I won't speculate on that. If that is the case, then maybe President Trump is making the right move by tariff war, quote unquote, with Canada. Moving on, Mohammed, Mohammed Khalil, Palestinian activist who was arrested by ICE on March 8th. This is a left-leaning extremist student at Columbia University who is here on a student visa. And it's funny because ICE is doing exactly what they're supposed to do, going after criminals, going after quote-unquote terrorists, which this person, by all definitions of the terrorist code, I can't quote exactly the statute right now, would be considered a terrorist in their activities on Columbia University. The left and the Democrats are absolutely fuming and losing their minds over this, which is ironic because they would not even stand for Laken Riley or the other American citizens who have been murdered by illegal immigrants, but they're throwing a huge fit over a foreign student who has ties to Hamas and, for all intents and purposes, a complete pro-Hamas supporter and pro-violent, anti-Zionist, anti-all-Western thought immigrant. And they're up in arms over this person when they could be highlighting the stock market and the economic failures of President Trump, but no, they always choose the xenophobic, the racist, all these tropes that we're so used to seeing from Democrats. So no surprise, they're just going to focus on this, and it's a losing argument. This is what Americans voted for ICE detaining and deporting people who are literally hate America, and they hate everything that is Western and everything that is great and free about our country. And they are here protesting and on our taxpayer dime and on a student visa. And they're here at a American university and they basically hate America. So good riddance. This is exactly what people voted for and exactly what should be done by ICE right now. So I don't have an issue with that. So yeah, this brings up an immigration clip that I want to play, and just to show you the extreme shift in our politics and the left's politics and opinions on immigration. So if you'll see in this clip, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, not so long ago, they had their common sense view on immigration would basically be considered far right leaning nowadays. So just take a listen.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
A significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But after you've done these things over a certain period of time, you can earn your citizenship. So that it's not something that is guaranteed or automatic. You've got to earn it, but over time, you give people an opportunity. Now, it only works, though, if you do all the pieces. I think the American people, they appreciate and believe in immigration, but they can't have a situation where you just have 500,000 people pouring over the border without any kind of mechanism to control it. So we've got to deal with that at the same time as we deal in a humane fashion with folks who have put down roots here, have become our neighbors, have become our friends. They may have children who are U.S. citizens. That's the kind of comprehensive approach that we have to take. All right?
Nowadays, if any person on the right or President Trump said those things, they would be considered xenophobic. But that was just 10, 15 years ago. The common sense immigration policy of the left. So that shows you the dramatic shift in our politics. And if the left and the Democrats don't start to finally shift a little bit back to the middle, back to common sense, I don't know how it's going to bode well for them. And if it does bode well for them, then that makes me extremely concerned for the future of our country. If by the looks of it, by all the political views of it at this point, it seems like they hate America. They want it to completely change. They hate Western ideals. And they believe that we need to be a far left, blue, communist, socialistic bureaucracy at this point. Moving on, this kind of ties into my next topic, which is the melting pot of America, right? What is a melting pot? And what should our immigration policy really look like? A melting pot, it comes from a play back when I believe Teddy Roosevelt was president. He loved the play, he loved the melting pot phrase that was used in this play. And what is a melting pot, right? It's a melting pot of different races, cultures, ethnicities, all into one free America. But the thing is, for any country to be successful, you still have to assimilate and have a common idea and a common goal and common values. If we don't have that, then we don't have a country. And that's why if you look at other countries, the Swedes, for example, are often cited as socialist success country. I believe it's Sweden. If you look at Sweden, they are 95% white. And I'm not saying that we need to be 95% white in America. No, that's not what I'm saying. But they're 95% the same race, and they have the same culture and same foundational principles. That is what we need in America. We don't need everyone to be the same race. We don't need everyone to be the same religion. The differences is what makes us special, but we do need common ideals and goals. And to say that America has never had a Christian European background, foundational, and these ideas of freedom, no taxation without representation, having less government and more freedom and less regulation, more innovation. If you don't believe in these things, then you should not be allowed into America. And if you're not going to agree to assimilate to that, then you should not be allowed. So when we say a melting pot, yes, you can have all these different colors, religions, cultures come into this pot, but when it melts together, it assimilates into the idea of America, of freedom, of prosperity, of lack of government dictatorship. And I'm afraid we're getting away from that. So that's my take on the melting pot. It's a melting pot versus a salad. A salad is a mix where the ingredients don't necessarily melt into one. The lettuce remains lettuce, the cheese, the tomatoes, the onions, all separate while mixed together doesn't become one. But in a melting pot, it all becomes one. So that's an idea that we really need to get behind in America soon, or we're just going to continue to be divided, and we're going to continue until it gets to a point that perhaps we will become no longer a free democratic republic. So that's my take on that. Stay informed and get the latest legal tips, news, and insights. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to all our pages. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get updated anytime we upload a new podcast. Come get your dose of excellence on a daily basis.